Good morning, Bucknutters. It is Tuesday, June 21st, 2022. I am Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change. We will be joined very shortly, as you can see, by the avatar that was never more handy than yesterday. Dwayne Long will be here. If you are watching on Facebook, the Twitter, or the Tube of You, you need to give us a 5-star review, smash the like button, subscribe, whatever you do that allows our bosses to retain our contracts when they come up. Today, we are going to be discussing what else Ohio State's continued thrashing of the wide receiver position on the recruiting trail. Also, more camp today, but as you can see from his avatar, the great Orlando Pace representing Dwayne Long. Dwayne, yesterday about 1 p.m. in Columbus, it was about 80 degrees. How did it feel all throughout your body?
Oh, with the wind and that beautiful weather running across my nose, I was great until the dog started chasing me. I was in a good place. I had, as you said, I had my lead blocker, the greatest of all time. But there were just too many dogs, and we had to cut it short.
Carnell Tate committed to Ohio State yesterday. He is a naked jaunt recruit, wide receiver, originally from Illinois, matriculated to IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida, and will be back in the Midwest to play his college football for the Ohio State Buckeyes. It was a long recruitment if you take into account the highs and lows. It finished as a 2-team battle with Tennessee and was another, I would say, highlight of guys choosing their long-term future over their short-term future. Just for ha-has, I went back and watched Carnell Tate's tape again yesterday, Dwayne, and he just doesn't have any weaknesses. I hate to say that about such a young guy, but he has great size. He runs incredible routes. He plays hard. He's a hands catcher. He can catch with one hand. He can catch a screen pass and take it the distance. If I were to say his overall best attribute is that he has no weakness. Dwayne, once you put your clothes back on, what'd you think of it?
Well, I still got to get a shoe on, but I can talk over top of that. Here's the thing. I watched this film again, too. I've watched it several times. I probably watched that tape more than anybody except Caleb Downs. You can't stop him. No average college football player, forget about a high school kid. He's so big and so strong and so athletic. He's going to come up and take the football. It's just, there's nothing that you can do about it. And then he's got the speed to turn it upfield and house. This kid here, he's right up there with the best we've seen in recent years. Julian Fleming and Egbuka, just a unique physical specimen that can do whatever the hell he wants to do on a football field.
Even pedigree, if you look at it, obviously IMG, the quality of competition they play is ridiculous. If you told me Carnell Tate came in here as a true freshman and was in the rotation or the third receiver, which at Ohio State is like being knighted, I wouldn't be surprised. I'll bet no matter who they get out of this class, and it's going to be a class for the ages. Know that. I do think Tate is going to be the first one to get on the field. We can talk about the other guys as we go, but I can't be more impressed with the guy. I'm not saying he's the best receiver they've gotten, which is going to be a statement for years to come, but he's as good a high school prospect as any receiver they've gotten in here. I mean, Jackson Smith-Njigba was maybe more productive statistically, and Garrett Wilson maybe had a little bit more reputation, but I don't see anything about Carnell Tate that leads me to believe he won't step in, be here for 3 years and off to make a ton of dough. And it's incredible. It's just an incredible situation. And we are just blessed to have Brian Hartline in the fold. What's incredible, Dwayne, is this is not going to end anytime soon. Major crystal ball action rolling towards Ohio State for his South Florida Express teammate and also high school teammate of Buckeye commitment Mark Fletcher, and that is Brandon Inniss. Is he also worthy of dropping your drawers? I'm sorry for the naked jaunt. Don't get your ideas.
Okay, yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Ennis's only problem is he's in the same class with Carnell Tate. The kid, he's spectacular. And you know, one thing that is consistent with Ryan Day is not only getting the most talented kids in the country at receiver, he goes after the bigger kids, and I love it. I love having bigger receivers out there. They're going to win the one-on-one battles. If they're one-on-one, they're open. These kids are unique. They don't create separation with running great routes or just pure speed. They are open. They're just throw the ball up and let them go get it. And that's what you've got. That's one thing. Tate, you just watch how many plays. Just throw it up and let them go get it. Inniss is not as big as Tate, but he plays. He's got some of that game in him too. And these two guys, to me, they're 1 and 2 in the country. I know we've gotten the number one guy, the last 3 years in a row? Well, now we got 1 and 2 coming this way, as it looks like.
Yeah, I've seen Zachariah Branch rated ahead of Inniss or Tate in some spots. I don't personally buy that, given the fact that both guys that we're going to get are bigger, stronger, maybe not faster, but I think a better fit for the system. We will also keep an eye on the recruiting trail because Noah Rogers from North Carolina, Rico Flores also in the mix. I don't think there's any question Ohio State is going to end this class with at least 4 receivers. Bryson Rogers, Carnell Tate, Brandon Inniss, I predict to be in, which is not me predicting. I'm basically following those guys who really actually know. And then we'll see one of Flores or Rogers, depending on how that works out. I don't think they'll take 5. Let's talk about another guy who, as the recruiting weekend to end all recruiting weekend approaches, know this. This coming weekend is going to be the biggest collection of talent on Ohio State's campus from a prospect perspective since the pandemic darkened our days. So it's going to be a very important weekend. One guy who will be here, and I figure this is turning into a Ohio State versus Alabama, Nick Saban versus Ryan Day grudge match. Caleb Downs, defensive back out of Georgia, son of Gary Downs, the former New York Giants running back, visited Alabama this past weekend. He will be at Ohio State this weekend. I'll show you why I giggled there in a minute. What do you make of this? Caleb Downs, to me, probably the best safety prospect they've been this far in the mix with, at least as a prospect, since I've been up here. Obviously, no one has been as good on the field as Malik Hooker, but he was a basketball player through his junior year of high school. Your thoughts on Caleb Downs and what it would mean to get him in the mix?
Important that you bring up Hooker. Hooker was not a highly ranked recruit. He was, as you said, he was mostly, it looked like basketball coming out of his junior year, but he was just so athletic. We took him and look what we got. This guy could have stayed healthy. He would have been a perennial all-pro, but he is just so beat up. His injury list is wow. It really is mind-boggling. But anyway, back to the point. I'm trying to remember the kid last year from Iowa. Went to Iowa. He and
Xavier
Caleb Downs are the 2 best
Wankpa.
safeties I've seen in years. And Caleb Downs, there you go. There you go. And Caleb Downs, and with what we've got now with Coach Knowles, the way he likes to set his defense, his scheme, safeties are so important. Having a guy like Caleb Downs, who I would say is the most important recruit left on the board now. It was he and Tate. I would maybe throw. There are a couple other guys I consider, but those
Mateo
the two that don't
Uyungale.
come out of my mouth first. Now we got Tate. We got to get Downs. That's. I wasn't trying to pronounce that this early in the morning.
That's what I thought.
He would be the third guy. Anyway, Caleb Downs is just a kid that if you watch him play, You look at him and you say, is he going to be out of position ever? He's just such a smart football player. I've seen him play two receivers. There are a number of plays where they make the mistake of putting a guy on the same side as a slot receiver that he's covering, and he'll get in between them and make plays on the ball. He hits, he does it all. If there's any weakness in him, and I wouldn't call it a weakness because it's not like he's small. You want safeties to be a little bit bigger, but don't worry about it. Just, you take this ball hawking, game reading kid, and he's going to make things happen for you.
You're going to want to keep your Bucknuts internet vibe going all day today because camp season has kicked back off. Bill Kurlick and our crew will be there with bells on. Today's got an incredible visitor list. If for no other reason, the Raiola brothers are in town, people. 2024 quarterback commitment. Dylan Raiola will throw in front of everybody. But guess what? Class of 2026, Dayton Raiola, already a favorite of mine, given the fact I'm sitting in the Gem City right now, will also be there to throw. So are we going to go Raiola, Montgomery, Raiola? Who knows? But it's worth watching. Some other tremendous prospects will be at camp today. Probably the other guy you need to know is Stacy Gage, class of 2024 running back out of IMG Academy, the number 2 running back in the country. You got to be impressed, though, Dwayne, with the idea that Raiola is coming out here to throw and kind of continue his red carpet approach to being a Buckeye.
You have to look, quarterbacks are usually the captain of teams. They are the leaders. This kid's showing up whenever he can get a chance. Don't tell me that's not going to impact this class. Don't even try to tell me that's not going to impact this class. The guys are going to go, we got us a quarterback, y'all. Let's follow this guy.
Oh, yeah.
He's got talent. He's a leader. That's what you want to see. The guys that go quiet, come on, man, get out here. Here's some phone numbers. Call some guys. You don't want to have to do that. You want them to be coming to you as a coach that they've committed to saying, I need some phone numbers. I need to talk to some guys. And that's where Raiola is doing that. I mean, you've got to be impressed with this guy. And I keep looking at his film, Dan, and I just look at the size of this kid. You're not going to be dragging him down with an arm. He's going to break that tackle and going about his business. There's so much to love about Raiola. And the icing on the cake is he's being such a leader.
Yeah, you don't want to get too hyperbolic about Raiola, but I think we're looking here at a more efficient, better trained Josh Allen. And that's hard to even say out loud without chuckling. I want to talk about one more guy, and then we're going to take a quick break and then start taking some questions here. One is, let's bring it back stateside. Always interesting when Ohioans get an offer. One guy we've talked about, the Jordan Marshall kid, some. We haven't talked at all about Bo Jackson. Running back out of Cleveland, earned an offer. Kind of rare that an in-state guy gets an offer like that early in the process. What do you think of Bo Jackson as a prospect?
I can't decide if I like him better at defensive back or as a running back. I think his tackling is not up to par. He didn't lay the wood to people Downs does. He a safety to come up and stone guys. Whether they head snap them or not, you want them to just right there, plays over. He gets them on the ground, always gets them on the ground, but this is going to be another level, and he needs to improve his tackling. But as a running back, he's ready right now. Just a very elusive kid that makes people miss, reads the game well. You got to have that vision. I mean, it's so crucial. If you ask me to pick a fast back or one with good vision, I'm not even going to hesitate. I'm going to say one with good vision. And this kid, I'm watching him pick his way through defenses, and you can see he's making decisions. The guy that's closest to him, he doesn't have him. He's gone. He's looking at that next guy. What
Special back.
going to do about
Yeah.
him?
He's got a chance to be special.
Very, very smart runner with a great vision.
That's my fault there, talking over you a little bit. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and nail some questions here. All right. Larry Ventresco asks, what's your guys' opinion on the Buckeyes offering 8th graders? Dwayne, what do you think?
I don't care. They've seen him. They've seen him play football. The one kid, his dad,
Chris Henry Jr.
Bengal. He's living with Pac-Man Jones now that they offered. Look at a picture of this kid. Yeah, look at a picture of this kid. He's already put together like a college football player. He's got the body. That's the thing you worry about. Are they physically mature? No, I don't have no problem with it. They wouldn't be offered. Why else would they offer them unless they knew this is a kid you got to get in on early?
Yeah, I would say
care. I'll absolutely leave that up, coach.
All right, I'm not
worried about that.
I'm gonna mute Dwayne's mic here for a second, just because he's having some technical difficulties, and I'm going to nail a couple questions here and hope we can finish strong. I thought we were rolling there without our technical difficulties we usually have on Tuesdays, and then they reared their ugly head again. So let me take a few of these. Ryan Snyder, do you think Sonny Styles, of course, the star at Pick Central, who is reclassifying, coming a year early, do you think he'll be a safety or a linebacker this fall? I think he's ultimately going to linebacker. He's just too big for, in my opinion, to play safety. He may play that hybrid spot, but I think generally speaking, you're going to see him develop into an outside linebacker. How does Darren Dorsey, great first name, how does Ohio State create creative ways to pay Hartline what you guys do? This is literally amazing. There's no question it's amazing. I think people have to take into account Brian Hartline is not your average college football coach. He is coaching at his alma mater. He made a ton of dough in his professional career. He is financially independent, I would assume, and is going to be the highest paid player at his spot. You can also make him associate head coach at some point. So I don't think paying him is going to be the issue. I guess if he ever had desire to be a head coach somewhere, that would be troubling. But I think right now he knows he's got it cruising, and he's the best. He's the best in the world at what he does. So I don't see any reason he would stop doing that right now anytime soon. And like I said, his lineage here is really where you need to be at. Zion Robinson from Pickerington North. Yes, they are familiar with him. I can tell you that for a fact. All right. We'll take one more question here. Another from Darren Dorsey. Ohio State has to win the defensive player battles no matter how good your offense is. You need a defense that can at least slow down the other elite teams. Could not have said it better myself. And that is kind of why we were talking about Caleb Downs. That Caleb Downs is the guy who can stabilize that back seven. And is just really a special, special player. It's going to be tough, though. I mean, pulling him out of the South, tremendously difficult. I do think when guys come from a family of pros, they are a little bit more apt to be on the move. If you look at kids who are sons of professional athletes, they tend to be a little bit more healthy in the cash department and a little more worldly, possibly. But you don't know. From C. Brown, saw a post about Tackett Curtis being the 6th or 7th best linebacker in the country. In the big picture, that's really good, but what's the gap between him and the ones rated above him? I would not get too wrapped up in the ratings once you know Ohio State is all in on a guy, because they don't mess around. Um, Jim Knowles has been on Tackett Curtis since day one, and I will trust in Jim Knowles until he proves otherwise. Also want to thank Dwayne for stopping by. Once again, I apologize for the brief technical difficulties at the end. Like I said, those of you listening to the podcast, please give us a 5-star review. More importantly, though, it's camp day again. You're going to need to have everybody's eyes on the site here. Bill Kurlick will be reporting heavily. Usually we got the offensive linemen in the morning and then the skill guys in the afternoon, which means Dylan and Dayton Raiola will be out there in the 1 to 3 range. Hopefully we will be there with bells on. Have a good one, Bucknutters.